Hi dear kids, good morning. This is Srinivasan. Today the topic we are going to discuss from history 7th unit. The topic is the Great Rebellion of 1857. Before going to the class, I am gonna ask 5 questions from previous chapter. Question number 1. The plunder of India by the East India Company continued for another dash years. The plunder of India by the East India Company continued for another dash years. Question number 2. The peasants' uprising was classified dash categories. The peasants' uprising was classified dash categories. Question number 3. Pharisee movement was launched by dash. Question number 3. Pharisee movement was launched by dash. Question number 4. Didymian was died at dash. Didymian was died at dash. Question number 5. Santals scattered in various part of dash India. Santals scattered in various parts of India. Okay guys, next we are going to enter our new topic. Shall we go? The Great Rebellion of 1857. In 1857, British rule witnessed the biggest challenge to its existence. Initially, it began as a mutiny of Bengal Presidency Sipais but later expanded to the other parts of India, involving a large number of civilians, especially peasants. The events of 1857-58 are significant for the following reasons. This was the first major revolt of armed forces accompanied by civilian rebellion. The revolt witnessed unprecedented violence perpetrated by both sides. The revolt ended the role of the East India Company and the governance of the Indian subcontinent was taken over by the British Crown. Causes: Annexion policy of British India. In the 1840s and 1850s, more territories were annexed through two major policies. The doctrine of paramountcy. British claimed themselves as paramount. Exercising supreme authority, new territories were annexed on the grounds that the native rulers were corrupt and inept. The doctrine of lapse. If a native ruler failed to produce a biological male heir to the throne, the territory was to lapse into British India upon the death of the ruler. Sadara, Sambalpur, parts of the Punjab, Jhansi and Nagpur were annexed by the British through the doctrine of lapse. Insensitivity to Indian culture sentiments. There were always a suspicion among the people regarding British intentions. In 1806, the Chipais at Vellore mutinied against the new dress code, which prohibited Indians from wearing religious marks on their foreheads and having whiskers on their chin, while proposing to replace their turbans with their round hat. It was feared that the dress code was part of their effort to convert soldiers to Christianity. Similarly, in 1824, the Chipais at Barakpur near Calcutta refused to go to Burma by sea, since crossing the sea meant the loss of their caste. The Chipais were also upset with discrimination in salary and promotion. Indian Chipais were paid much less than their European counterparts. They felt humiliated and racially abused by their seniors. The revolt. The precursors to the revolt was circulation of rumors about the cartridges of the new Enfield rifle. There was strong suspicion that the new cartridges had been greased with cow and pig fat. The cartridge had to be bitten off before loading. On 29 March, a Sipai named Mangal Pandey assaulted his European officer. His fellow soldier refused to arrest him when ordered to do so. Mangal Pandey, along with the other, were court-martialed and hanged. This only fueled the anger, and in the following days there were increasing incidents of disobedience. Burning and arson were reported from the army cantonments in Ambala, Lucknow, and Meerut. Bahadur Shah proclaimed as Emperor of Hindustan. On 11th May 1857, a band of Sipais from Meerut marched to the Red Fort in Delhi. The Sipais were followed by an equally exultant crowd who gathered to ask the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah to become their leader. After much hesitation, he accepted the offer and was proclaimed as the Shah-e-Hindustan. It means the Emperor of Hindustan. Soon the rebels captured the northwestern province and Awadh. As the news of the fall of Delhi reached the Ganges Valley, cantonment after cantonment mutinied till by the beginning of June, British rule in North India, except in Punjab and Bengal, had disappeared. Civil rebellion. The mutiny was equally supported by an aggrieved rural society of North India. Sipais working in the British army were in fact peasants in uniform. They were equally affected by the restructuring of the revenue administration. The Chipai revolt and the subsequent civil rebellion in various parts of India had a deep rooted connection with rural mass. The first civil rebellion broke out in part of the northwestern provinces and out. This was the two regions from which the Chipais were predominantly recruited. A large number of Jamindars and Talukdars were also attracted to the rebellion. As they had lost their various privileges under the British government, the Talukdar peasants collective was a common effort to recover what they had lost. Similarly, artisans and handicrafts persons were equally affected by the dethroning of rulers of many Indian states, who were a major source of patronage. The dumping of British manufactures had ruined the Indian handicrafts and thrown thousands of weavers out of employment. Collective anger against the British took the form of people's revolt. Prominent fighters against the British. The mutiny provided a platform to aggrieved kings, nawabs, queens, and jamindars to express the anti-British anger. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the last Peshwa Bajirao II, provided leadership in the Kanpur region. He had been denied pension by the company. Similarly, Begum Hazrat Mahal in Lucknow and Khan Bahadur in Bareilly took the command of their respective territories, which were once ruled either by them or by their ancestors. Another such significant leader was Rani Lakshmi Bai, who assumed the leadership in Jhansi. In her case, Dalhousie, the Governor General of Bengal had refused her request to adopt a son as her successor after her husband died, and the kingdom was annexed under the doctrine of Lapsi. Rani Lakshmi Bai battled the mighty British army until she was defeated. Bahadur Shah Jafar, Kanwar Singh, Khan Bahadur, Rani Lakshmi Bai, and many others were rebels against their will, compelled by the bravery of the Sipais who had defied the British authority. Suppression of rebellion. By the beginning of June 1857, the Delhi, Meerut, Rohilkhand, Agra, Allahabad, and Banaras divisions of the army had been restored to British control and placed under martial law. The British officers were given the power to judge and take the life of Indians without due process of law. William Howard Russell, the correspondent of the London Times, who was in India in 1858, met an officer who was a part of the column that under Colonel Neil orders marched from Allahabad to Kanpur. The officers reported that in 2 days 42 men were hanged on the roadsides, and the batch of 12 men were executed because their faces were turned the wrong way when they were met on the march. Even boys who had playfully flaunted rebel colors and beaten on a tom were not spared. Every Indian who appeared in sight was shot or hung on the trees that lined the road. Villages were burnt. Causes of failure. There is hardly any evidence to prove that the rebellion of 1857 was organized and planned. It was spontaneous. However, soon after the siege of Delhi, there was an attempt to seek the support of the neighboring states. Besides a few Indian states, there was a general lack of enthusiasm among the Indian princes to participate in the rebellion. The Indian princes and Jamindars either remained loyal or were fearful of British power. Many a time they acted as a fifth column. Those involved in the rebellion were left with either little or no source of arms and ammunition. The emerging English educated middle class too did not support the rebellion. One of the important reasons for the failure of the rebellion was the absence of the central authority. There was no common agenda that united the individuals and the aspirations of the Indian princes and the various other federal elements fighting against the British. In the end, the rebellion was brutally suppressed by the British army. The rebel leaders were defeated due to the lack of weapons, organizations, discipline, and betrayal by their aides. Delhi was captured by the British troops in late 1857. Bahadur Shah was captured and transported to Burma. India becomes a crown colony. The British were shocked by the events of 1857. The British Parliament adopted the Indian Government Act in November 1858, and India was pronounced as one of the many crown colonies to be directly governed by the Parliament. The responsibility was given to a member of cabinet designated as the Secretary of State for India. The transfer of power from the East India Company to the British Crown also meant that there was a regular parliamentary reviews of Indian affairs. Changes in the administration. British rule and its policies underwent a major overhaul after 1857. British followed a cautious approach to the issues of social reform. Queen Victoria proclaimed to the Indian people that the British would not interfere in traditional institutions and religious matters. It was promised that Indian would be observed in Indian government services. Two significant changes were made to the structure of the Indian army. The number of Indians was significantly reduced. Indians were restrained from holding important ranks and positions. The British took control of the artillery and shifted their recruiting effort to regions and communities that remained loyal during 1857. For instance, the British turned away from Rajputs, Brahmins, and North Indian Muslims and looked towards non-Hindu groups like the Gorgas, Sikhs, and Pathans. British also exploited the caste, religion, linguistics, and regional difference in the Indian society through what came to be known as divide and rule policy. Okay guys, today our session was over. Our lesson came to an end. I will meet you on following videos. Bye bye from Srinivasan. I love you all. Take care.